So, how was your week?
Oh, it was busy.
Aha. So, what's the most interesting thing you did?
The most interesting thing was my daughter's exam last Friday.
Aha.
Yes, she said that she liked it very
Mm-hmm.
much and that it was easy for her. But now we should wait till the 1st of February for results.
Yeah. That's always a challenge for me to wait for so long for their results. Yeah. Okay, so, and today we are going to talk a bit about Britain. Yeah. So, what comes up to your mind when you hear about Great Britain?
Maybe lack of central heating,
Uh-huh.
rains, maybe English language, of course,
Mm-hmm.
high prices,
Mm-hmm.
strange, strange apartment flats and buildings, so to live in, and so on.
Okay, well, let's now try to recognize these photos, where they are from and what they were taken for, and etc. So, where do you think this photo is from?
Maybe Golden, Elizabeth. Which city of Great Britain or what?
Which part of Great Britain?
Which part? England?
No, Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, okay.
Northern Ireland. And when was it?
I don't know.
It's 2002 to celebrate Elizabeth II's 50 years on the throne.
Okay.
Okay, what about this photo?
It looks like something Arabian.
Yeah. What's this?
Maybe England.
Yes, exactly. That's England.
Because they are rather international people.
Yeah. And this is?
Scotland or Wales?
Exactly, that's Scotland. And these are Highland Games. Yeah, Highland Games. Okay. Now, So now let's have a look at these things, yeah, and what we know about them. So what's a bonfire night? Yeah.
I think it's kind of celebration, maybe.
Yeah. What does it celebrate? And when is it?
I don't know.
It's the 5th of November. The 5th of November. And it celebrates when Guy Fawkes planned to blow up the parliament, and these plans were revealed and he was punished. So like the saving of the parliament. Yeah. What's a carbot sale? Yeah.
I think when people can buy cow tires free of charge.
No, it has nothing to do with car tires. It's like when you've got, I don't know, an old wonderful vase and you want to sell it, and you take it and go to a special place and stand next to it and like shout out for people, inviting them to look at your vase and suggesting them to buy it. So this is a carbon sale. What's the carnival, this with the capital letter?
The main carnival of England.
Yes, and which is it?
I'm not very strong in history of Great Britain.
So
I don't know.
it's not in Hill Carnival, not in Hill Carnival, in London. Yeah. It's to celebrate the West Indian community, and it's for 2 days in London in August. Yeah. So fish and chips, I think. Sorry, first curry. What's curry?
Curry, fish and chips. I know that it's the most popular food in England.
Yeah. But curry traditionally comes from where?
India.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But British like curry very much, I know.
Okay, what's Glastonbury?
Glastonbury, maybe a city.
A village in the southwest, yeah. And it's the largest, it's the home to the largest greenfield carnival in the world, which hosts, just imagine, about 175,000 people annually. Except the last year, of course. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Okay, what's that? God Save the Queen.
God Save the Queen, it's the phrase maybe from the hymn.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Islam, I think we know it, yeah. H&S. Yeah, H&S.
I don't know, maybe a hockey team?
No, it stands for National Health Service.
Okay.
Which was founded in 1948. Yeah. So what do we know about the public school system?
Something.
Nothing. Okay, in a way it is similar to the Russian, but well, in my opinion, the most important, the most crucial difference is that in the 6th grade, which is equivalent to our 10th and 11th grade, yeah, they study 4 subjects only. And these are not core subjects like Russian and maths and literature, but the subjects of their choice. So it's like earlier specialization. Yeah. So regional autonomy, what's that? Regional autonomy.
I suppose that every region has their own laws and rules and so on.
So yeah, it's like England, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland have their own separate parliaments. Yeah. St. George's Day, when is it? And why is it connected with England?
No idea.
No. Well, St. George is the patron saint of England. And the day is celebrated on the 23rd of April. Interestingly, it just came to my mind, the same day as Shakespeare's birthday. And the trade union movement, what's that?
I understand this phrase, but how it's connected with the Great Britain, I don't know.
Well, it's kind of group of people instrumenting in finding the Labour Party, yeah? And it's still influential in politics of the party. Mhm. Okay, so what else? Maybe what words or word combinations come across to your mind when you hear this Great Britain? Nothing.
Maybe no idea. I know just fish and chips. Maybe that it consider English British considered to be arrogant. Maybe in some ways. That's
Okay. And what do you think is the Brits' opinion of their own selves? Like generally, nationally.
I think they consider themselves to be clever and polite.
Yeah. Okay, now let's listen to the three Brits talking about their own cultural identity. Yeah. And each of them mentions three things from this list. Yeah. And your task will be to understand which three things each speaker mentions, yeah, and why. So ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Track 8. 1. Savannah. I grew up in London, which is incredibly multicultural, so my feelings about British culture have obviously been influenced by that. Half my friends were mixed race, like me, and we all grew up going to the Notting Hill Carnival, eating curry and kebabs, listening to Jamaican music, American music. You know, real mixed bag stuff. Now, though, I live in Lincolnshire, which is much more what you might call traditionally English. It's much whiter for a start. I'm enjoying it, though, I have to say. I love the countryside up here and the big empty skies, and I love all the local car boot sales as well. I've picked up some mad stuff there. I've started gardening too and getting into baking, which is a whole new thing for me. My London friends would die laughing if they could see me now. 2. Callum.
One thing that bugs me is people talking about British culture when what they really mean, whether they're aware of it or not, is English. Scotland's a separate country with its own distinct cultural heritage. Politically, we're more left-wing, but that's not reflected in the British government, which is still dominated by these Southern English public school boys. We're more in control of what goes on up here than we used to be, but personally, I'd like even more autonomy, and maybe one day independence. Also, I don't understand why we still cling on to the royal family. The only God Save the Queen I'll sing along to is an old anti-royalist punk song. In some ways, I'd like to be seen as a Republican and a citizen of the world first, then European and Scottish, or even British, but never English.
3. Amir.
Some people might not expect someone like me to be running a fish and chip shop, but for most of my customers, it's just not an issue. I was born here, as were my parents, and I'm as British as anyone else. I just happen to be Muslim as well, that's all. It's no big thing. I mean, it's not exactly unusual nowadays, is it? I do get the occasional comment about it, but I don't let it bother me. The only time I ever feel vaguely conflicted about my identity is when England play Pakistan at cricket. I can't help it, but I always want Pakistan to do well. There's generally a bit of friendly joking about that with the local lads, but, as I always say, I'm sure most English blokes who end up moving to Spain still want their kids to support the English football team. It's human nature, isn't it?
Mhm. So, what did the first speaker mention?
I heard only the information about carnival
Yes.
and car boot sales.
And curry. Yeah.
Uh,
She also talked about curry. Speaker 2.
Oh, it's so difficult. Maybe regional autonomy.
Yeah.
And God save the Queen.
Yes. And
Nothing.
public schools. Yeah, public schools. And number 3.
Number 3, I heard only about Islam. That's all.
Islam, yes. And then football.
It was football. I heard about some sport, but I didn't understand which one.
Yeah, football. And some food.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips. Yeah, great. Okay. And now we have to listen again and identify which ones are true, which ones are false, yeah? And correct the false ones. So, before we start, do you understand all the statements?
So I need to read them.
Sure. Sure.
Racially diverse. What's this? Racially diverse. B, number 1.
Yeah, racially diverse means that there are people belonging to different races. Like there are some Brits, some French, some Germans, some Indians, some Pakistani.
Assumption.
Assumption is like your what you think, yeah? For instance,
opinion.
When I see there's no light in someone's room, and I can make an assumption that this person is not in or he's sleeping. Yeah, like something you suppose. Yeah, like предположение.
That how tight government controls cotton still is. His outlook is very and potential. Conform to a certain in the sense of his retain means he retains of his.
Retain is like he feels uncomfortable about it.
Okay.
So, ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Track 8. 1. Savannah. I grew up in London, which is incredibly multicultural, so my feelings about British culture have obviously been influenced by that. Half my friends were mixed race, like me, and we all grew up going to the Notting Hill Carnival, eating curry and kebabs, listening to Jamaican music, American music, you know, real mixed bag stuff. Now, though, I live in Lincolnshire, which is much more what you might call traditionally English. It's much whiter for a start. I'm enjoying it, though, I have to say. I love the countryside up here and the big empty skies, and I love all the local car boot sales as well. I've picked up some mad stuff there. I've started gardening too and getting into baking, which is a whole new thing for me. My London friends would die laughing if they could see me now. 2. Callum.
One thing that bugs me is people talking about British culture when what they really mean, whether they're aware of it or not, is English. Scotland's a separate country with its own distinct cultural heritage. Politically, we're more left-wing, but that's not reflected in the British government, which is still dominated by these Southern English public school boys. We're more in control of what goes on up here than we used to be, but personally, I'd like even more autonomy, and maybe, one day, independence. Also, I don't understand why we still cling on to the royal family. The only God Save the Queen I'll sing along to is an old anti-royalist punk song. In some ways, I'd like to be seen as a Republican and a citizen of the world first, then European and Scottish, or even British, but never English.
3. Amir.
Some people might not expect someone like me to be running a fish and chip shop, but for most of my customers, it's just not an issue. I was born here, as were my parents, and I'm as British as anyone else. I just happen to be Muslim as well, that's all. It's no big thing. I mean, it's not exactly unusual nowadays, is it? I do get the occasional comment about it, but I don't let it bother me. The only time I ever feel vaguely conflicted about my identity is when England play Pakistan at cricket. I can't help it, but I always want Pakistan to do well. There's generally a bit of friendly joking about that with the local lads, but, as I always say, I'm sure most English blokes who end up moving to Spain still want their kids to support the English football team. It's human nature, isn't it?
Okay. So, Savannah's parents were from different ethnic backgrounds.
True.
Yes, exactly. It's true. How does she say about that?
She said that she grew up in Notting Hill Carnival, and they all were multicultural.
Okay. The place she lives in now is very racially diverse.
No.
No, why not?
She moved from Notting Hill somewhere, and she said that there were a lot of British people, not.
It's much wider, yeah?
Yes.
Just as it's much wider. Okay. Her friends in the city often laugh at her.
She said that if her friends saw her, they would laugh at her. I don't know how to answer this question.
It's false because her London friends would laugh at her, yeah? Not, Okay, Callum gets annoyed by common false assumptions.
Yes, he is very annoyed and irritated person.
Exactly. He complains about how tight government control is.
Yes, it's true.
This is false because he says, like, we're more in control of what goes on up here than we used to be. And his outlook is fairly narrow and provincial.
So maybe, is it my opinion or not? I don't understand.
Judging by what he says.
Judging by what he said, it's true.
But he
No.
said that he was citizen of the world in the first place.
It's his opinion, not mine.
Okay. Okay, fine. Amir acknowledges he doesn't conform to certain stereotypes.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He said, like, some people might not expect me to, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. He
Okay.
gets quite upset about his people sometimes. Yes, it's true.
Mm-mm.
Maybe not upset, but he isn't fine, actually.
That's the key. He said, I don't let it bother me. Yeah. So he's not upset. And
Okay.
he retains the sense of his family roots.
I don't know. Probably it's false.
Okay. He says, the only time I ever feel vaguely conflicted about my identity is when England play Pakistan at cricket. Yeah.
Oh, and what?
Yeah, you're right. That is false. Okay. And let's have a look at the, oh, ouch, at the next one. Yeah. So, in this, like, speaking, yeah, what's the most interesting and the most surprising thing you heard?
Nothing surprising for me.
But the most
Um,
interesting one?
they are they are all typical British in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And how racially diverse you think Russia is?
Much how our country is rather racially diverse. There are a lot of nationalities in our country.
Yeah, really. Quite a lot. And are there strong regional differences?
Regional different, maybe yes, not in the central part, maybe in Russia, but if we compare, for example, Siberia and European part,
Yeah.
I think there would be a lot of differences.
And do you think regions should have more autonomy?
From central government, I'm not sure for what. The most people live in European part of Russia. So what for they need an autonomy if the smallest part live there? They their population is too small for autonomy, in my opinion. For example, if Moscow consists of from 8 million people or 10 million people, so all the other part of Russian has 10 million people together.
Okay, yeah, something like that. But I would say to some degree of autonomy, yeah, maybe would do some good, because central government does not always know like all the information they need to make the right decision. Yeah. Yeah,
For
I
me,
agree.
it's if Moscow would separate from other cities. It's city.
Okay, yeah. Well, and now let's have a look at this. Yeah. So making phrases including the word thing. That makes such a fuss.
Really is thin, big, not it. It is really no big thing.
Yes, exactly. And what does that phrase mean?
I don't know the meaning of the word fuss.
Such a fuss, like like when something is really not important, but you make it like it's much more important than it really is.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really no big thing, means like it doesn't matter.
Yes. Mhm.
So it's rude.
It's rude, just think there is done it in our society. It's rude. It is not just the thing done in our society.
Almost. It's just not the thing done. Yes. And what would it mean?
That it's bad
It's like not acceptable. Yeah.
in our society, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So
I'd love to
I'd
do
love-
it, but fine, be a thin chance. I'd love to do it, but fine, be a thin chance. But but where is it? But I want to say it would be a fine chance, but I can't.
chance would be a fine thing.
Mhm.
Chance would be a fine thing. And it means that
I believe in my fate.
so it's very unlikely.
Unlikely.
Very unlikely I'll have an opportunity. Yeah.
The mind is from it might think furthest at the moment. It is the furthest thing from my mind at the
Yes,
moment.
exactly. Okay.
It means that it's the last what I think about.
Yeah.
I always do it. Morning in the thing. I always do it the first thing in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes you thought it that thing is off. Makes you thought it that the thing is off. Glad to be alive. Is any British person speak like this or not?
Honestly, I doubt.
Me too. It's too difficult. Makes you thought it that the thing is off. It is
This sort of thing, it is the sort of thing.
It is the sort of thing that makes
You,
you glad to be alive.
yeah, exactly.
It's difficult with another one thing what ends. It's difficult thing. It's difficult and what with another thing. another with, and it's difficult. Where is the verb, for example?
Mhm. It's difficult to what with one thing and another. Yeah. And this phrase, what with one thing and another, is used when people don't want to be precise about what things they are doing. Yeah. So something like, oh, I was busy, what with one thing and another, like that. Yeah. If you don't want to say exactly what you're doing. And the
Okay, I
last
see.
one. And the last
Probably if it was a context, I would understand this phrase, but
yeah, I see.
I didn't plan it. Thing
Mhm.
to one another led just. Why? I didn't plan it. One thing to another. I didn't plan it. Led just one thing to another.
Just one thing led to another. Yeah, just one thing led to another. And what that means?
That he or she didn't want to do something, but something happened actually.
Okay. So, and now let's try to fill in these expressions into the sentences.
When her son was ill, Job was not so important. Wasn't so important.
Yes. So we use
the most important thing.
the furthest thing from her mind.
Wow.
She didn't think about Job.
I will never remember these difficult phrases.
Unless you recall them and work with them. Yes, you know that. Use it or lose it.
Okay, I always feed my cat in the morning. Okay, I always feed my cat in the morning. It's a good sentence. I always feed my cat.
Just right as soon as I wake up.
Early in the morning.
Before anything else.
Firstly.
First thing, yes. First thing. Oh, why are you so worried?
It's such a fuss.
It's no.
Not such a fuss.
No big thing. Yeah.
Big thing.
It's
Okay.
really no big thing.
Using phones during the lesson should be banned.
Yes, should be banned. But that phrase with the word thing.
Thing. Should be. The least thing in the class.
Not the done thing, not the thing done. Yeah. By the way, do you agree?
No.
Interesting. Why?
If a student wants to study, the phone won't stop him or her. So I have got a mobile phone.
Nice.
It's
The
not a
key
proof.
word is if.
So it's so in that reason I'm not a school worker now, not a school teacher.
I see. I see. Yeah. Okay. So what about teaching chemistry?
I ever teach chemistry. Had. So difficult. It was the last thing I ever teach chemistry.
Yes, the meaning is this. Chances are slim. Yeah. Chances are very slim. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
The least thing. No, I don't know.
Chance would be a fine thing. It's not I, of course. Sorry for a typo. Yeah.
I ever teach chemistry. Awful. I don't like this exercise.
Okay. So now,
Mhm.
yeah, it's the previous one. Yeah. Now, so here are some phrases with the word laugh. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what might it mean? Laugh all the way to the bank.
When you want um, to create your salary into cash, but you
No.
but you understand that there is too little money.
No.
I'm joking. Laugh all the way to the bank? I don't know.
It means that you earn money easily, you make money easily. When you are away laughing,
To the bank. Be away laughing. I don't know. I see this phrase first time in my life.
So it means that you achieve your aim easily. So they are like similar, yeah? Be away laughing and laugh all the way to the bank. Okay.
Have the last laugh.
Uh-huh.
Maybe to say the last word, something like that.
No. It's similar to what we say, he loves well who loves the lost, yeah? So it means like, finally, you are vindicated, yeah? Laugh in someone's face, that's easy, I guess.
To be rude with someone.
Yeah, it's like when you openly show contempt, yeah? That's interesting. A laugh a minute. Oh,
A laugh a minute.
it's like just very funny. Yeah, easy. Just very funny. Okay. And laugh out of court.
Maybe not suitable.
Yes, something like this, right. It's when something is dismissed or someone is dismissed because they are considered ridiculous. And laugh up someone's sleeve. Laugh up someone's sleeve. Mhm.
Maybe tell bad things about someone back.
Almost. It's like when you secretly have fun, yeah? For instance, I don't know, you've put a note on someone's back and that person doesn't know about it, but you are laughing up your sleeve because you know that he's carrying the rude note on his back, yeah? Or something like this. Mhm. Okay, now choose 3 and make sentences about yourself. 2 true, 1 false. So, for instance, when I was getting ready for my Delta Module 1, I was away laughing. Number 2, my classmates sometimes laughed in my face. And number 3, I just dislike people who laugh up their sleeves. So which one do you think is false?
So 2 true, 1 false, or 2 false, 1 true?
No, 1 false. 1 false.
1 false.
Yeah. Any guesses?
Can you see me?
Yeah. That's okay now, I hope.
Yes.
So, So which
No,
one is false?
I said that number 3, it's true,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought that number 1 and number 2 are false. Maybe just 1 is false. Maybe.
Yes, exactly. Definitely Delta 1, you aren't away laughing when you're preparing.
I suppose, yes.
Okay, well, and now we are going to listen to a lecture about identity. So before we start, what do you associate with this concept? What does identity mean for you?
Your personality, your traits of character, maybe. Your opinion to things and issues and so on.
Okay, and now let's listen to this. And first, you just have to summarize the main idea, yeah?
I will try.
Track 9. 1. It's really no big thing.
No, sorry.
2.
I'm so
It's just not a
sorry.
done thing.
These are those phrases. Sorry, that should be the next
Track
track.
10.
Yeah, that's it.
As you're no doubt all aware, we live in troubled times.
Oh, some problems with the sound.
It has
I
always
can't
been
understand
this
anything.
idea of a unified
Oh.
national culture.
Uh-huh.
It's as two sounds together
Uh-huh.
go together.
Is this better?
As you're no doubt all aware, we live in troubled times. And one reaction to global uncertainty has always been to cling on to this idea of a unified national culture. A culture that everyone living in a particular land shares and participates in. It's an idea that many find very comforting. Sadly, though, I'm afraid it's also something of a myth. The reality is that identity is a very personal thing, and the individual cultural identities of people living in pretty much any society that you care to name vary so much that it's basically impossible to define common features. And of course, our identities aren't fixed or static. They change over time as a result of our interactions. And in an increasingly globalized world, a world that's driven by commerce, our interactions are becoming more and more complex and multi-layered. We can easily find ourselves eating a breakfast that's been manufactured by a Swiss company while watching a French TV show we recorded last night on our Korean-made TV. We might then put on a Chinese-produced T-shirt, some American-made jeans, and some Italian shoes before getting into a German-made car to drive to work. I should know. That's exactly what I did this morning. If our habits as consumers complicate our ideas about what it means to belong to a national culture, then so too do our relationships with others. As we get older, we often grow into the many distinct roles we play in life. These different roles often exist independently of each other, and when playing a particular role, we sometimes end up only interacting with those directly affected by whatever the role is. This is why it's quite possible for one person to be, for instance, a mother, a wife, a ballet lover, Welsh, British, Jamaican, black, and a marketing manager without any contradiction. At the same time, though, we also need to realize that for some people, these different roles can cause terrible tensions and can result in individuals abandoning certain roles as they feel they're no longer compatible with the main ways in which they have come to see themselves. I'm sure you can all think of examples of this kind of thing from your own experience of the world. So where does all of this leave national identity? The historian Eric Hobsbawm has argued that many of the ideas about national cultures that are spread through the education system, through the media, and through public ceremonies and monuments are basically a form of myth-making. And it's the ruling elite who encourage these stories, and, of course, who benefit.
Mm-hmm. So, how would you summarize that?
Maybe that national identity is not constant thing, and we are all the part of other nationalities, and identities, and so on, because we live in a very international and multicultural world.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this.
And I would say he also highlights that culture and identity is to do with your individual experiences and roles, and global national cultures, as far as they exist, are just the invention of those in power. Yeah? Something like that.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm. And do you agree with this statement? Do you think he is right?
Yes, I agree with him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very, I think that I'm very tolerant person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And moreover, I study foreign languages, so my identity changes all my life. So because I have to mix up with other culture and so on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and now, so listen again. And why was each of these things mentioned? Yeah. So ready?
Track 10.
As you're no doubt all aware, we live in troubled times. And one reaction to global uncertainty has always been to cling on to this idea of a unified national culture. A culture that everyone living in a particular land shares and participates in. It's an idea that many find very comforting. Sadly, though, I'm afraid it's also something of a myth. The reality is that identity is a very personal thing, and the individual cultural identities of people living in pretty much any society that you care to name vary so much that it's basically impossible to define common features. And of course, our identities aren't fixed or static. They change over time as a result of our interactions. And in an increasingly globalized world, a world that's driven by commerce, our interactions are becoming more and more complex and multi-layered. We can easily find ourselves eating a breakfast that's been manufactured by a Swiss company while watching a French TV show we recorded last night on our Korean-made TV. We might then put on a Chinese-produced T-shirt, some American-made jeans, and some Italian shoes before getting into a German-made car to drive to work. I should know. That's exactly what I did this morning. If our habits as consumers complicate our ideas about what it means to belong to a national culture, then so too do our relationships with others. As we get older, we often grow into the many distinct roles we play in life. These different roles often exist independently of each other, and when playing a particular role, we sometimes end up only interacting with those directly affected by whatever the role is. This is why it's quite possible for one person to be, for instance, a mother, a wife, a ballet lover, Welsh, British, Jamaican, black, and a marketing manager without any contradiction. At the same time, though, we also need to realize that for some people these different roles can cause terrible tensions and can result in individuals abandoning certain roles as they feel they're no longer compatible with the main ways in which they have come to see themselves. I'm sure you can all think of examples of this kind of thing from your own experience of the world. So where does all of this leave national identity? The historian Eric Hobsbawm has argued that many of the ideas about national cultures that are spread through the education system, through the media, and through public ceremonies and monuments are basically a form of myth-making. And it's the ruling elite who encourage these stories and, of course, who benefit.
So, why does he mention global uncertainty?
I can't explain.
So he says that we react to this, but holding on to the idea of the unified global culture, national culture, yeah? So like global uncertainty make us think that there exists a unified national culture, yeah? Okay, commerce. He said that commerce drive our interaction, yeah? And interaction.
I thought that he spoke about interaction when gave an example examples like French TV show, German car.
Yes, yes, these are the examples. Great. And what about 4? A ballet lover and a marketing manager?
He told us about different social roles that one person played.
Yeah, okay. What about tensions?
He said that some people have terrible tensions to play these roles. It's difficult for some people.
Yeah, yeah. Like contradictions between the roles, yeah? Okay, and what about elite? The ruling elite?
Oh, I forgot. Something that elite is who maybe who makes this opinion about identity, national.
Yes, exactly. That's it. That's it. Okay. And now, so let's have a look here. Which of these sentences do you think the speaker would agree and which he would not? So globalization has led to an increase in nationalism. Do you think he would agree?
Maybe no.
Why not?
Because he said that national identity is something impossible. So globalization is our way to live. What understand?
But he might agree because he said that globalization is resort to the idea of national unified culture. Maybe, yeah? Okay. What about number 2?
Made products. We should all buy more locally made products in order to boost the economy. No. I think he wouldn't agree with this statement.
Yeah, exactly. Why?
He gave a lot of examples of international products and said that it was normal and was okay for him.
Okay. So number 3.
The thing that he did in the morning, so you could easily have more in common with someone in a different country than with you. You could easily have more in common with someone in a different country than with your neighbor. Of course, yes, he would agree with this.
Because
his lecture was about it.
Okay. Generally, yes, that identity is a very personal thing.
Every single person living in a society contributes equally to the nation's identity. No. He wouldn't.
Why?
For the same reason.
Yeah. And he said that the ruling elite promote this idea, yeah?
Yes. School play a key role in developing critical thinking about culture and identity. Maybe, yes, he would agree with this statement.
He says that schools promote the ruling elite idea that there is unique national identity.
Mhm.
And 6,
But it's a sentence about critical thinking, no?
critical thinking means like when you say that that's not true, yeah? But schools say that identity exists. In
Ah, I see. I see. Okay. More and more people are going to suffer identity crisis in the future. I think you would agree with this. Because he said that there are a lot of people who suffer from playing different roles. Why not?
Okay, and now let's make a list of 8 people or things from Russia that you think are culturally important.
Mhm. Mhm. Make a list of 8 people or things, yes, from a country that you think are culturally important. Our president, number 1.
Maybe, yeah.
Culturally important. Борщ.
Yes. Okay.
The New Year's Day, in my opinion. Vodka. 4. Places. Moscow, St. Petersburg, Siberia. Maybe sports. Sports. Gymnastics.
Okay. Right.
Or figure skating, maybe.
Great.
What's your opinion about this list?
Well, my list consisted of the Victory Day, Moscow Kremlin, Novgorod, Lake Baikal, and, well, Pushkin, Dostoevsky, and the Silver Age poetry, like a phenomena, you know. And sports, well, maybe ballet.
Oh, yes, I agree with Belly.
Okay, and let's have a look. Yeah, so you have to fill in these phrases, yeah, into the dialogue.
No, without correcting, I believe.
Yes, sure.
Oh, it's a good chance would be a fun thing, just not the done thing. No big thing. One thing led to another. The furthest thing from my mind, the sort of thing with one thing and another. I begin stop liking the word thing. Okay, let's try. I really enjoyed doing voluntary work overseas, seeing how hard it is for people in some parts of the world to simply survive. Well, it's that makes you appreciate what you've got. It's the furthest thing from my mind.
No.
It's no big thing. It's no, not chance. It's the sort of thing.
Yes, exactly. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
It's the sort of thing that makes you appreciate what you've got.
So how did you get involved? I met this girl in college who'd done it, and we talked about it, and I didn't really plan it. It one thing led to another.
Yes, sure. Just
I really admire you for it. It must have been difficult at times. No, it's really. It's no big thing, really.
Mhm.
I just signed up, packed my bags, and went. I'd
Yes.
love to do it. Then why don't you? Then why don't you? It's easy. Huh. I could never take the time off work. Chance would be a fine thing.
Yes, exactly.
Then quit.
Mhm.
You are always talking about taking a year off to travel. What? Jeopardize my
Yeah.
career.
Jeopardize my career? Uh-huh.
Mhm. It's in my family. It's just not the done thing in my family.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Uh-huh.
My parents don't approve of people going around the world when they could be at home earning money. That's true. I suppose once you've got a job, it's difficult, yes. And I've just bought a flat too, so what? Number 7, travel is the furthest thing from my mind in the moment.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Uh-huh.
Number 6, so what? With one thing and another.
Yes, exactly. Right. Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. So, great job. Great job. Wonderful. Okay. So, what's the most interesting thing today?
I liked your explanation of some British features because
Really?
it's useful for my job, I suppose, because no one ever told me about that.
Oh
Even in the
my!
Yes,
Really?
no one of my teachers, even at school and at university. So I don't know a lot about British culture.
I used to work with Vereshchagina coursebook, which provides lots of information on that. So,
When I was at school, I studied English by Kuzov. So.
Oh my!
Yes. I know something, but not a lot. But now I know more. Yes.
I see. Okay, so see you next week. Yeah.